Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. I am very excited for this next, I don't even know if we want to call it an interview. It's more of a chat because we have my friend Nicole. She is a graduate of the 6 Months to Food Freedom program, and she had the pleasure of working with Casey, and it's 6 months now, and she is just so excited, so ready, so confident to graduate, and we're just so excited for her. So I wanted her to kind of share her experience. Nicole, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad you're doing this because every time we do this, it's always, guys, the purpose of this isn't to say go apply to the 6 Months to Food Freedom program, although obviously, I think that would be great if you did. But that's literally not why. It's literally for you to hear and understand that if she can do it, you can do it too. And then also to kind of talk about the strategies and the mindset shifts that had to be made in order for her to be successful. So yes, obviously, we want you to apply if you feel like you need the help, but also just to know, just listen with open ears and just to kind of hear and to understand that you're not alone and that there is a way for you to kind of break free of that very restrictive all or nothing mentality and diet mindset. So with that said, before we even started recording, I was looking up Nicole's email address just to kind of confirm with her, about today's recording. And I found her application. So I thought it would be so perfect to kind of share the reason why she applied. And then Nicole, I would love to kind of hear your thoughts and to hear if you accomplished what you were planning to accomplish and kind of why you reached out and you feel like you are still struggling with that stuff or you've overcome it today. So one of the questions on the application is, why have you decided to get healthier and reach out for help? And she said, trying to get back into a routine after 2 years on medication and suffering a back injury, wanting to take this seriously and put my needs as a priority. The next question I asked is, was there something that prompted you to reach out to help, like a milestone or an event coming up? She said, recently moved to a new state and I do not want emotional eating to gain control. I wish to use this time in a positive manner by learning these strategies and using them in the best ways I know how to. And then another question I ask on the application is, what do you hope to achieve by working with us? How would those results make you feel? Please use as much detail as possible. She said, I wish to create some stability with my eating habits. I would love to feel collected and confident in my decisions and in my body. And then she went on to say that she's been following me and she loves my positive spirit. So thank you for that. But Nicole, when you applied 6 months ago, and even just hearing me say that, what comes up for you? I'm curious.
Well, it definitely seems almost like that was years ago that I said that. So at first it's takes you back for a second, oh my God, I remember sitting on the call with you being I just moved to a new state. I was just starting a new job. It was a bunch of changes in my environment. Mm-hmm. And you were oh wow. Lots of new stuff. So it definitely felt interesting but now it's not only have I been in my new state for more than 6 months, but just seeing the growth of how I was still using the word eating, and Casey was my lifesaver through all of this, and reassured me of you should not be scared of any type of foods. There's no such thing as a fear food. Everything comes in moderation. So that definitely was almost a nice little ding of I'm not scared of the foods that I used to be almost fearful of, carbs or sugars or junk food or whatever you want to call it. So that was kind of reassuring that hearing that I don't feel the same way I did when I put that application out there.
Yeah. Lots of growth. Yeah. And I love that you said it feels like it was so much longer ago. Cause it sounds from what I got from that is I know how it feels when you reach food freedom, you feel like a different person. You feel like such a new different person that you almost can't even imagine yourself having that old way of thinking and that mentality. So even though it's only been 6 months, it does feel like a lifetime ago because it's literally a different person.
Yeah.
Like your mindset's different, your behavior is different, your attitude is different. Like it's super, super cool. So, okay, cool. All right. So first question I always ask when we have someone come on here who's been through the program, and you kind of alluded to it in your application, but what was the main challenge or obstacle you were looking to solve when you came in?
My main challenge I was looking to get into was just kind of like nip in the butt any, changes I was already having. I wanted something consistent. I wanted a plan that I could follow on my own. Once again, everything's going to come back to like changes in my environment if I repeat myself. But, I was an avid person of OTF at Tuckahoe. Represent. Woo woo.
That's Orange Theory for those who don't know. OTF stands for Orange Theory. And Tuckahoe is just the studio that us New Yorkers go to, and her fellow New Yorker used to go to.
So I was kind of like out of my element by not having my routine set in place for me. So when I saw your program and I saw kind of like the expectations of it, I really liked that it was 6 months. So I felt like it gave me enough time to kind of go through the motions of it and get comfortable with it. Mm-hmm. And B, I liked the fact that it was all one-on-one. It wasn't like, oh, come to this program and we'll put you on a certain type of meal plan or put you on a certain regimen. It was very much like you listen to us first and then you kind of express your concerns. So I felt like that was able to be almost flexible with it based off like week by week, month by month, whatever it was. And I really enjoy this like open door concept of, it's not just a deadline of 6 months. There can always continue on with it if needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually, it's exciting to hear that you like that it was 6 months. I think for most people, they get fearful that it's 6 months because most programs out there are like 3 weeks, 12 weeks, maximum, I would say 3 months, which I think is 12 weeks. Anyways, like not that long. And so I think when people hear 6 months, they're like, oh, that's a big commitment. But I think you already went in with the right mindset of understanding that this is a 6 month container to learn the skills and the tools and the behaviors, but really it's a lifetime change, right? And so you just need some time to kind of figure out what that is and what that looks like for you. But yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, two things that I thought were very unique. And at first I didn't think it was going to happen. And it kind of like gave me a wow factor to this, like enticed me, was your constant need of just like communication, like whether it was a text. And when I said, do you mind if we set up a call where I still had more questions before joining on, you were like, yeah, can you call me right now? And I was like, wow, like the immediacy, how nice is this? So I like the fact that you were willing to listen to my individual things and not just, are you joining or not? Like, it definitely felt individualized, and it felt like, I know when I first wanted to join, I was like, I'm fearful of this or I'm unsure of that. And you reassured me and you were willing to almost work with me on explaining it more if I needed that time. And it was always that open door. It wasn't like join now or forget it type of situation. So right. That was always reassuring of, they're not just going to give up on me. Like I don't like hit a goal or, whatever it may be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm really glad you said that because we're definitely very approachable. It is very individualized and we believe in as much support as you need to get you to where you need to go. So if you need to hop on a call in between sessions or, you have questions, that's what we strongly encourage you to utilize the chat to let us know if you're not doing well. So, why wait until your call in a week or so before when you can just hop on a call for like 15 minutes and get your questions answered, So definitely. So, okay, for big question I like to ask, because I think a lot of people think like, oh, I can just do this on my own, right? So what wasn't working on your own? Why did you feel like you needed to implement something different?
So I guess the first thing, like I said, was 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with PCOS and I suffered a back injury in my lower back. So that kind of put me out of commission of my regular routine. And then with being diagnosed with PCOS, I was still in not only just doctor visits, but being acknowledgeable and researching what this was on my own. And then taking that time just to, when you hear one opinion about it, sometimes that can strain you of, do it this way, or maybe take on this regimen of it. And obviously after 2 years with seeing minimal, changes to it, I just thought, slow and steady wins the race, continue the motions with it. So coming into this, it was kind of nice to kind of be more informed and have different resources to it. There was no one way. It was just, here's the information that we can provide you. Now you can choose what to do with it. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciated that. Even though it's not like a doctor's visit, going to a doctor's office, it's definitely more personable in that way. But also the fact that it really touches on like, what is this individual looking for? Like for me, Casey knew I was trying to get into a better routine with this. Casey knew I was trying to get set up with, like, the keyword was just consistency of learning about how to like make the beautiful plate method every day, which I love and I can use for the rest of my life. There's no app, there's no, special shake I need to purchase. It's just, you can use it in any type of environment you be in. So I appreciated the realism of it. It was truly a realistic program that even like going out, she's like, you don't have to take a picture of your food. Like, I know that's like uncomfortable maybe for some people to like take out a phone in the middle of a dinner party. So I enjoyed that there was no idea of like a criteria you need to meet on a day-to-day basis, that there was wiggle room with it and that it made you feel okay if everything wasn't going perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Yeah, lots of flexibility and there's no rules or have tos or shoulds, none of that. Absolutely. So, okay, so what did we implement what did you and Casey work on together that was different? And then when did you realize that?
The first thing we implemented, which I think is like, I think it's the basics, and it really just like kind of made my foundation method, obviously. For me, it was, like I said, I previously saw doctors and there was no mention of this. It was, whispers of diets like a keto diet or the low,
or like no carb, or like for PCOS, that's like carbs are the enemy.
Like no carb, no sugar, or, birth control. It was always something of like this or nothing.
Right.
Where I love the fact that the plate method that you guys have implemented is, something that you can input into any type of environment, like I've said. So that was definitely the foundation of her just saying, try it for a couple of days. If it doesn't work, we can, jump to plan B or whatever it may be. So that was one. And I also like the consistency of, tracking without the fear of it. Because I did express to her that I had fear in calorie tracking because I did, in a way, like I said before, I've had experiences with fear foods or, guilt after eating something. So she was very understanding of like introducing this in a new method that didn't have any type of, hesitation with me or make me uncomfortable at any step of the way. So whether it was pictures or her just saying, describe what you ate this weekend or during your work week. So it kind of helped me reintroduce this idea of confidence in my eating, confidence in my decisions, and confidence in myself, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. So what's the main outcome that you achieved that you're most proud of?
It's going to sound really cheesy, so I'm sorry, but just the knowledge is power. I mean, Casey trying to remove this idea of like keto or low carb and, or diet bread or whatever it was that I was like so stuck on this regimen for. I really appreciated her almost like freeing me of this idea of like, restriction. I appreciated her helping me understand that the knowledge of understanding food and activity and everything that she's kind of helped me check off my list is just the freedom of feeling comfortable and confident in the decisions of my routine, my strategies, and my ongoing progress.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, because when you let go of all those rules, now you have options. And when you have options, you have flexibility. And then you can eat foods that you like and do things that you enjoy. And then because you like it and you enjoy it, you find balance within it and you're consistent with it and everything's good. So I love that. I love that. So I always ask this question. This next question I always ask because I think that there are so many plans and programs out there. And so if someone is kind of interested in applying to the 6 months of food freedom program, but maybe they're a little skeptical because they're not sure if it's something that they can trust, was this something you were skeptical of at first?
I wouldn't say skeptical. I think I was just like apprehensive because I didn't have all the information. And I'll even be honest that this was not my first rodeo with programs and just in general from, the million that are out there that I think, you kind of get discouraged of hearing one program after another and just my experiences with it. So I appreciated that it wasn't like you trying to sell me on this. It was you just informing me and being like, you can make this decision. Here's my information. Mm-hmm. And I think I remember our phone call. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, that's what I'm here. And I was like, my credit card. So I will say I was a little apprehensive at first, but I'm so glad I did it. And I was just talking with someone about it recently where I said, you know how you have like payments for like college debt or like an apartment rent? I was like, this was like rent for me. Like the idea of like, it's a commitment and like, but it's an investment in a way that each month paying rent and like, here is a progress I can make based on where I've gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was like, here, Casey, take all my money.
Yeah, no, honestly though, because, like it really is something, I'm glad that you said that it is something that you're in your body your whole life, right? Yeah. Like you're in your mind your whole life, right? So when you can heal your relationship with your body and food and change your mindset and like learn how to work with it rather than working against it, like it's priceless, like you said. And it's crazy because people will spend 5 to 6 times the amount. And there's nothing, I mean, college education is necessary and needed, especially for depending on your career. There's also a lot of people that go to school for something and spend, some schools are like $40,000 a year just for like, you know what I mean? And then they never even use their degree, and not to put guilt or shame on that at all. But just the point being is like, in society, we've somehow justified this idea that it's okay to invest in our future, but only when it's related to like school or like a house or home, but not when it comes to ourselves and our bodies, that like we need to be healthy in order to go to that job and to live in that home. There's so much more to it. So I'm glad you just said that. And by the way, guys, you wouldn't have to invest in a year of schooling in order to work with us. It's not that much. It's also not as much as your rent. Well, for some, it depends where you live. I should say that. Depends where you live. Not in New York. New York rent is crazy. But anyways, okay. So I guess let's end with this. Like, if someone has been really thinking about it, and guys, if you're listening to this and this is you and you've been kind of on the fence with joining or applying and not quite sure, first of all, don't take that as a coincidence. It's not a sign. There's a reason why you're listening to this to the end. But second, Nicole, I would love for you to kind of speak to that person who has been wanting to apply, but is a little bit hesitant and it really just kind of needs that push. They're kind of on the fence. What would you say to that person?
I would say what I wish someone told me in the beginning of this was you can't be fully happy with others until you're fully happy with yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think, like you said, either it's on the inside or the outside, but this program almost like revamped, like a big spa day of revamping how I can be myself on the inside, and on the outside, and just saying, listen, if not now, then when? If you are really committed to make a change, why not start today? What's stopping that from happening? It took 10 minutes to fill out the application. It took 10 minutes on a phone call with you, and I've never looked back since then.
Oh, Nicole, that's so sweet. We're so proud of you. Like, so proud of you. You're such a rock star. And guys, as a reminder, we'll meet you in the middle, but it also, like, Nicole put in the work. So you got to put in the work. You got to show up for the calls. You got to, want the change, and you have to believe in it. Like, she believed in it from the beginning. She understood this is a lifestyle change. And so with that comes slow change, but real change. Right. So we're super, super proud of you. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
I definitely say don't be scared, kind of jump in with both feet in a way. Because at first it felt like a lot with like the program, the videos, and like the modules. But like leaving now, like my last meeting with Casey, I was like, this is it. So I definitely say, even if you're like unsure at first, just to like give it a try. Because, I've had zero regrets since doing this in a way. And I continue to use these methods, and I will continue for like a lifetime.
Yeah. Oh, love it. I love it. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Hopefully that inspired you. If you have not applied yet, definitely go to tipswithtony.com/coaching to get your application in sooner rather than later. Nicole, you're awesome. Once again, so proud of you. Thank you guys for listening. As always, this is Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.
Tip with Tony, with Tony, with Tony. Woo!